What's up, dudes? Welcome back to another episode of Triple KO. I am joined by Matthew McMuscles. Hello. And
Hello.
Also world traveler Justin Wong.
I'm home.
You currently.
For a few days.
But the first thing at the top of this, this memo says recap of Justin visiting Thailand and Singapore for tournaments. So, how was it?
It was great. I never been to Tiger Uppercut, and
Great name.
It's a great name, obviously, and they're really known for like kind of doing like Tekken and Street Fighter, but they also, they had a bunch of interesting games. They had a Bloody Roar tournament, and so which is really cool. A lot of communities had like their own side tournaments for like SVC. I was just there to pretty much really play just Third Strike and Marvel, and then go explore Thailand, go to Sagat statue type of thing. And yeah, I was able to win Third Strike and Marvel, but I felt really bad because when I won Third Strike, the person that got second, she's a Japanese Remy player. She did really good at Evo Vegas.
Using the struggle character.
Yeah, she's used Remy and everything.
I love Remy, weirdly enough. You'd think I wouldn't, but yeah, it is a struggle.
It's a struggle, and I felt bad because after I beat her, she starts to cry. And
Aww.
I'm just like, oh no, I'm so sorry. But I think it was because like she had a bunch of these notes about like how do I beat Justin's Chun-Li, and it was very, very detailed. And then after the tournament, like she asked me for advice, and we just talked for like an hour about like, oh, this is what I think you could do better. And she's just writing in her notes, like no cell phone, straight notebook, like going to school type of thing. So, I mean, ultimately it turned out very well in the end. So that was really cool. And then, yeah, Thailand was just a great experience because the tournament organizers, they travel around the world to go to tournaments to like see what they can take and bring to their Thailand scene and try to make Thailand like FGC a bigger place and a better place.
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
So
These are tournaments that I've heard about for like the longest time, and all certain streamability of them has only been around so much in the past, and now they're like obviously big majors.
Yeah. So like that was the last Tekken Masters event. So pretty much like if you needed points, you would have to come to this event and everything like that. So there was a little bit of controversy about that with Tekken because they based off the rules. I don't know if you heard about it. There was a player from China, and he was about to get top 8 in the Tekken 8 Masters event, and he had to be DQ'd because he's not allowed to play in the Tekken Masters event.
And that's because of where he hails from?
Yeah, pretty much where he hails from. Yeah. And I guess the thing was he was allowed to enter the tournament, but he's not allowed to win it. So they just assumed that he wasn't going to make it that far. But unfortunately, he was at top 8 qualifier, and then they had to DQ him from both spots, like winners and losers.
So yeah, I did hear about this controversy, and it's like this is not specifically good for me being a top of the news hour person or a podcaster. I was like, yep, ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole. Don't know enough about the situation enough to talk about it. But all I'll say is that there seems to have been a miscommunication with B&E or whoever was conducting the event itself, because why would that person be allowed in the first place?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting just because like there was actual staff there.
Sure.
And yeah, they didn't say anything or whatever until it happened. But I think like with everybody, all the players is like, hey, that's not fair. That's
it isn't fair.
That's pretty bad.
Let's be honest, it isn't. But like, if the whole point is that this person cannot win, then what are we doing? Like, why are they? But
it seems like they're changing the rules. Yeah, it seems like they're going to change the rules because Bandai Namco said they're going to fly out that person to the LCQ in Japan.
Gotcha.
So that's like their like apology of like, okay, like, you know, we messed up.
Well, that's good, and that's what I meant. Where it seemed like this wasn't this person's fault, or maybe the event organization. This is like the giant tournament, right? The Tekken World Tour. That you're aware of the people that are joining and stuff, and where they're coming from, and the legality that of which they're in, and they just were like, whatever.
Yeah, pretty much it seems like. But
the mentality of just let him register, like he's not going to win. It's like, never say that about anybody ever. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know 100%. So it just kind of, you know, it's more of a PR disaster, erring on the side of like, it's fine.
If anything, they should have had, because you can limit that, right, and start GG where you're like, oh, like you have to put your location
Exactly,
and you know, and you'd be like, oh, you're not allowed to,
and then it comes down to the onus of the player, where if they lie where they're from or something like that, well, it's like, you're effectively sacrificing your you know, legal attachment, where it's like, we didn't know. So they didn't enter the right info. So there you go. But that seemed like that was actually, anyway, this probably is something that like we heard all the news about, and it's clear that it was just shitty overall, like the way it was handled. But it seems like they're aware that this sucked, and they're going to fix it going forward. That's in a very similar way related to Tekken for things in the future where this sucked, and they're probably going to move things forward in a different. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. So, but that was Thailand. Singapore was pretty cool. Gamescom, and it was like the big super premiere. The first time CPT has ever been like, hey, we're going to have a super premiere instead of a regular premiere. Yeah. And a super premiere is top 2 players qualify for Capcom Cup. Right. And that's pretty cool because obviously there's more spots. But for me, when I was just watching it, I'm like, man, you know, thinking about it, I'm not excited watching the grand finals because there's nothing on stake at that point because you're already qualified. Right.
Good point. Right? Yeah, there's always been some weird CPT and stuff. I always hear it from around the neck of the community, like Brian F. and some of the folks that are like really keeping up with that stuff and point tracking and everything. I guess like the top level organization of how the yearly event is structured and run de-incentivizes people to travel and all this kind of stuff, right?
It's actually pretty funny because there was pretty much an argument or like debate about it on Twitter recently about CPT. Like people obviously love the offline stuff because it's like it's something that you look forward to, right? Because all the players are coming, your favorite players are coming, blah blah blah. The one that people are like, wait, what is everyone posting? Yo, I just qualified for Capcom Cup, right? Okay. And everyone's like, from what? You know, from how? and it's because of their online World Warrior system. And it's just so hard to track the World Warrior system because it's not like advertised as much on Capcom. It's more advertised on the community, the grassroots of that region. Yeah. So like if you are a super region and you have the most points at the end of 5 World Warrior tournaments, you're automatically qualified.
So I'm assuming a super region is places that are like crammed with competition, like a USA or a Japan or something, right?
Like a USA East, Japan, so like those type of countries, right? Obviously, not every region will be a super region where they'll have a regional finals where like the top 8 of the point holders will play and whoever gets first place qualifies. Yeah. The super region, you have the one that's the overall the best in terms of points, and then the remaining 8 players will play in a tournament to get the second spot.
Right.
Right, so it's just confusing because I saw K-Brad talked about it, and K-Brad, he's one of the biggest like fanboys of watching people qualify from tournaments, and you know he loves watching competition, and he could not watch any, and he could not watch any of this because all this information was just in limbo. Like if you know, then you know, but if you don't know, you're probably not going to know until somebody posts that they qualify for Capcom Cup. So you don't get to see how they qualify for Capcom Cup unless you watch the VOD. But at that point, spoiler alert, you know.
It sounds like CPT all these years, like even since the very beginning, have been like, at least to me, it felt sort of figured out in the Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5 era. But that's when there was significantly less people involved, right? Just in general, from players to size of competition. Like we were going to like tiny ballrooms and little theaters in San Francisco and stuff like that to watch the finals of these things. And it was like, yeah, it was scaled down. Like it was relatively like minor, all things considered. And it's still somewhat similar now where like the finals eventually take place, but there's so many more moving parts. There's so many more like people worldwide and worldwide competition and management therein that it still feels like they're still juggling it and still figuring it out even with 2 years into Street Fighter 6.
Capcom doesn't have like a centralized website or database that like keeps track of all of this. Like the
they
esports,
do. No, they do. I think it's just it's
it's
Capcom.
just not advertised.
I don't even know the site anymore, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
CapcomProTour.com. Yeah, I think that's just the website. It tells you the information, but I think it's more of just like because every region has a World Warrior and it's 5 World Warriors. That means like I don't know how many regions are out there, but that means it's literally it's like let's say there's 8 regions. That means and it's 5. That means that you have to pay attention to 40 events minimum.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure there's more than 8 regions. So it's just a little bit too much.
So the thing that
to
I'll
find.
say from a perspective of somebody that doesn't directly, I'd say, follow the esports of all these things. When it comes to competitive fighting games, I'm always really into whatever fighting game I'm playing. I'm going to watch it competitively because I'm interested in getting better and seeing what people are doing to get to the meta and all that kind of stuff. That's when, historically, that's my interest in FGC. It always lingers around that. I'll get into old things or new things. Mm-hmm. However, the way like this is handled, the way this TWT stuff sort of is, it's pretty obvious that you're not going to have like League of Legends like era or size competitive players were like, yeah, your entire support system of your life and like so much of what you are is supported by being a huge big player of this.
Yeah.
And in fighting games, we still have like I say a level of popularity and sustainability in this that is pretty good. Where it's like, yeah, you can sort of be a sustainable person that plays fighting games competitively, but will you be able to be exclusively, is there a ton of people that are exclusively competitors that only make money off of their competition and stuff like that, but still don't dedicate a ton of that to content creation, which is where you actually make a lot of money in your audience? Like, no, you have to split yourself up a whole bunch. You have to like go to a bunch of things and travel and do all this stuff, and you have to find a way to like manage that. So that's where I'm going to say like fighting games as esports, there's very few players that fit themselves into the spot where it's like, I am just a competitor. Like even Daigo isn't that. Like you Justin, as a great example, were that for a while as much as you could, but was it like super lucrative? Like, bro, no, it was barely paying for hotel rooms and shit. So
yeah, it was definitely tough, and I think it's tougher now.
Yeah.
Just because one, there's like so many great players.
There's way
and
more
then
competition.
Way more competition, and then 2, it's just like if you're not doing both, right?
Yes.
Sponsors are probably not gonna really look at you, right? Unless you get super lucky. Of course, you can obviously get super lucky, but even some of the biggest names are not even sponsored now. So when you look at it, it's just if they're not sponsored,
you need to find a way to support yourself within
exactly.
And again, this just sort of leads into, which is what I appreciate about like fighting game community and fighting games as an esport. They are still passionate. They're still passion driven, right? Where if you're doing this stuff, like you're obviously looking for that $1 million prize pool, but there are probably very few people, even in that year 1 Street Fighter 6, now year 2, with the big prize pool that it has, where you're like laser focusing. That's mine. I'm going to everything. You're just sort of like playing, and you have a goal, and it's there for a lot of those players. But are you like riding everything on winning that? I don't even think the dude that won with Jury last year was like that, and it just worked. And he's like, here we go, and I'm retiring.
It just worked out for him, but I would say there are players that's like chasing the million, especially like Japan. Like Japan, I think the way their mindset is like once they set their mind of like, okay, I'm going to qualify for Capcom Cup and, do you try to win the tournament? That's literally what they set on. Everything gets completely dropped. Like
they're not even playing anything else.
Yeah, there was this one dude in Street Fighter 5. He was a Dawson player and he did not make Capcom Cup. And then he made a post about how he spent his whole life savings to try to chase the cup, and then now he's like, I'm quitting and going back to regular life. And that was like the most saddest thing I read, because I'm like, Jesus, goddamn.
And it's the kind of the same thing even with like content creation that I have to tell people, where like you'll see a goal and you look at the highest part of that goal. And for Street Fighter or for fighting games, it's like $1 million prize pool, right? For content creation, it's like 1 million subscribers or something equal to that. And you set that as your goal. And then when you don't immediately achieve it, it's like damning. It's like mentally taxing. It's crushing. And you just like, get me away from this, you know? And that's what I have to warn people, where it's like, you don't even know if you're going to like this. You don't even like, you're looking at that and you're like, yeah, I'm getting into it, but you don't even know if you're going to end up liking that game that much. So what I try to tell people is that don't full send your ass into the deep end. Like, just start doing it and see if you even enjoy it. Like, if you enjoy going to locals, if not competing online in ranked, if not just going to online tournaments, like start from the baseline of like, is competitive fighting games for me? Bro, just play ranked. Are you enjoying it? Like, enter a TNS, enter a can opener, and then enter a TNS, enter a online weekly, and then go see people in person, because in-person competition way different than online competition, you know? So, but people jump into the deep end. They just go like full send. And it's the same thing with content creation. I'm spending $4,000. I cashed out my savings. I'm going full in on this, like, you know, video creation thing. And then they do it. And then they get like 100 followers over years and nothing happens. And they're like, how dare you tell me, how dare you make me feel that I could do this? And it's like, no, so I'm warning you guys. You have to get very lucky in some of these situations. And it's the same thing with competition. You have to get lucky about seeding. You have to get lucky about like how the bracket's structured. Like it applies to everything, dude. It does. Yeah. And it's tough.
And in terms of gameplay, like, let's say you're okay at playing the game, but like you're not recording, or let's say you're doing content creation. Let's just say you're not the best, and like, you know, you're taking lots of losses. It's like, maybe do something else within that same realm. If you're like me and not that great, do lore videos, do what characters you just like. Sure. Like, there's fighting games still have so much stuff about them that even if competition wise you're not the best, or you just feel like you're not, there's so much more stuff you make. There's a lot of avenues there just within fighting games.
Absolutely.
And like, and just for the esports in general, it's like, if fighting games, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. If fighting games had $1 million tournaments like every month, like League of Legends or any other esports thing, that's also like a curse too, because then you might get people that are less passionate about the game and just going for money. Like, you'll get more and more of those people. So it's like, right now it's like, there's passion, there's like the drive to just be successful and get the money. So it's like, it's kind of in an okay place, except for just how much competition that there is, because that hasn't changed. That just hasn't. That's
the
just
quality of the online will always equate to how good people are, just in a general totality. And Street Fighter 6 is pretty damn good online, so a lot of people are fucking good, dude.
No, there's a lot of people are very good. There's players that are in Street Fighter League because they played only online ranked Street Fighter 6, like Boost, right? And he's now in Street Fighter League because of how good he got from playing online and playing ranked and playing in online tournaments.
You know who was like a couple of the first players I remember that were like that? Smug and Cloud 805. They were literally online warriors, dude. They just were they just were ranked dominators. And it was like, and then they showed up at places eventually, and it's like, oh crap, they're really good. Smug was like 12. Like, he was so young. And like Cloud 805 was the same thing. These were like teenage kids. Were like, wow, they're so good. Where'd they come from? They just played online. That was it.
Yeah, playing on delay-based Marvel 3 on PSN. That's crazy.
Street Fighter 4, yep.
So Max is saying is that Capcom needs to implement patches to make the online worse than the competition.
Yeah, fuck decrease. It up. Yeah, make it easier for us, you know. So sure. A lot of stuff coming out, and like a lot more discussions that we can eventually talk about, like the overall quality of esports and fighting games. But we have a ton of news that we got to start going over. Guilty Gear getting its, I believe this is the first character of might be the fourth season, or maybe the final season of Guilty Gear Strive. We don't know.
Oh yeah, maybe.
This is the one we got a little teaser at EVO, and Dizzy is showing up into Guilty Gear on October 31st. I saw the trailer and I was like, okay, cool. She looks actually relatively, from the trailer I saw, kind of in character. Like, I saw a lot of moves like the ice pillar, the little mouth laser, and I was like, oh, okay, she's not being completely retooled like an Elfelt or something like that.
They gave her some moves from other characters. Like they
did give her some
the
weird,
Justice move.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that.
That blue flash or whatever.
The weird,
Yeah.
like some weird gear stuff.
Yeah.
And then I saw a breakdown, and I didn't even see the full video of the gameplay breakdown. Here's where it gets nuts, because we all kind of agree she looks great. Like,
Yeah.
design wise, it's like, damn, like this is why I love Guilty Gear Strive designs. I think they're the best. They gave her this move where she summons wings.
Oh yeah, that's
And these two
that's
little
the
glowy
one.
wings build over time. They actually are like an overtime element. So the more they're out, they have an ability just to suck energy away from anything that's around them. But you have to give them time to build. So they show an example of it. And when you're close to the opponent, even if they're blocking, it sucks away, like, I'd argue 30 to 50% their actual health bar while blocking.
I think it's the same as health as what Nagayuki loses when he's in blood.
Like the blood splash. Like
Yeah.
the drop, yeah. So it doesn't kill you. It doesn't kill the opponent. You still got to land that final hit. But it substantially rips their health away, where it's like, oh, this is going to be a huge part of her game plan. Like, is going to be setting this thing up, and the opponent is going to either have to make a choice, get off of me or bursting or something, and you bait that, and then you get the punish, and then they're just dead. Like it's an elimination game.
For sure, I feel like it's a guaranteed tomorrow when she comes out, we're gonna see a touch of death with her with the wings on. She gets the first hit against Chip, and then boom, touch of death. Like we're gonna see that no matter what.
Yeah, that'll be one of the first clips is against poor old Chip. Mr. Zaneth is gonna die again.
Not my Chip, no.
But what I do
Chip.
like about this is that I also watched in similar fashion the gameplay breakdown, and I haven't played a lot of Strive in a long time. The last character I kind of really played was I think put more time into was Elfelt, and I was really surprised by Elfelt. She was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But the game felt like the game is what it is, you know, and it's not going to dramatically change. We're not getting Gatlings, reverse Gatlings, anything crazy like that anytime soon. But then you see Chip throw up a wire, and then he runs upside down on the wire for triple reverse gravity mix-ups, and I'm like, brother, like this is that level of wild ass Guilty Gear accent core shit that I think some people have missed, where some characters are just like medium heavy special, you know, cancel, medium heavy special 50%. Like that's kind of what a lot of Strive is. Now there seems to be some really crazy stuff with this on top of the wings.
There's that, and then a lot of changes. So obviously, there's a huge patch coming as well too. It seems like I know a lot of Potemkin players are very sad.
He got changed, like retooled, from what I understand.
They pretty much removed Kara, Potemkin, Buster.
Yeah,
that's kind of like, and I'll be honest, I'm like, damn, that's the really cool thing that he had, and they got rid of it. So I was pretty sad about that. I didn't look at like the whole patch notes, but it just seems like a lot of the saucy characters, like you mentioned, like Chip, he has like more new tools, and just because he's how flashy he is, I think Gold Lewis, he does way more damage now, so he can.
And that was the thing that I noticed, where it's like the Chip thing in that video was the biggest like visual. If you haven't been watching Guilty Gear for a while, like that's really crazy. I wonder if everything else is going to be as crazy. Is Leo going to have a wall cling or some shit? They didn't do that. Like things either just become safe or better on block, or big frame data changes, or move has kind of a different property now. But visually speaking, from someone that's like, you know, if you haven't been really in the Guilty Gear ring for a while, you're going to look at a lot of those changes and go like, so what's different? Like Fafnir is, you could do something after Fafnir? No, I think is what's going on, like with Soul. So they didn't go that ham, right? Some things
they
are
went
up
ham. I think on Happy Chaos, because everyone's saying like they finally made him bad.
Oh, is Happy Chaos like legit knifed?
Yeah, that's what they say. I mean, you know how Tekken always said, yeah, Akuma's dead, but Akuma always was top tier no matter what in 7.
Akuma got nerfed like 30 times and he still was the best. Yeah.
So it could be something similar to Happy Chaos, just because of the moveset alone is just too good, right?
Yeah.
Like you would it's really hard to like balance like make them mid. It's either they're like the best or they're the worst.
Gotta give them,
it's one of those
credit.
situations.
And this kind of happens in Guilty Gear games where they create some character that's just so out there. Happy Chaos is really out there. Like in terms of just like acceptability and approachability of even what Guilty Gear Strive is, that character is a wrench where it's like, whoa, what are we doing here? Like auto lock, paint lock, like wow. You have to like do this multiple button split shit to shoot and run and do all. This is crazy. This will take a long time. And yeah, to give them credit, you can't just jump into Happy Chaos and start doing good. It takes time. But that character was so polarizing. Like
it was
one of the most polarizing characters. Like I'd argue even more so than somebody like Bayonetta in Smash, because Bayonetta just was really good. Like played Smash really good, and now Happy Chaos is playing their own game. Like by a lot, while a lot of characters are playing Guilty Gear Strive. You know, so we'll see. I think Dizzy looks cool. We'll check her out when she comes out. See what it's like. Next up, in the giant swathing of newsing. There's a new game that is on Kickstarter right now, and we've been seeing little tidbits of this for a little while, and it's called Knockoff, and it's effectively 90s Toy Story version of like a fighting game.
Good way to describe it.
Yeah, it's like the characters are literally, they're animated like they are action figures, and they look like action figures, and they're beating each other up, but they're not characters. They're in a similar way what Terrordrome kind of had to do.
Like Cronan the Barbarian.
Yeah,
and
it's clearly He-Man, and that little ghostly guy, I can't remember his name, and this is supposed to be Skeletor, this is Mazinger Z, but they're not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. My favorite is the Street Shark.
There's a Street Shark? I didn't see that yet.
Yeah. He's like a big purple fish guy with like a, it's very Street Shark.
Is he supposed to be Street Shark?
I think so, because some of them are like a little like, I think they have some other character designs that are not in the current like media blitz that they have. Because Knockoff, I think we talked about this like maybe a year ago, but this is like, it's first, Kickstarter, like we're going to make this all a whole game. Did either of you guys see the gameplay breakdown? They released like a little 2-minute video. It's like,
not
here's all the systems.
I've watched people play it.
Okay.
Yeah. I pressed buttons on it.
You press buttons on it because then you would see like, it's like, a mix of like Street Fighter 4 because it just has straight up a focus attack, and just Marvel where it's a lot of air combos and like, light, medium, heavies, and then specials in the air, but assists too. And I'm like, I'm kind of digging this. The only thing I'm not digging is the sound effect of just punches and kicks. Boosh, boosh, boosh. It's
things sound extremely condensed.
Yeah, they definitely took Street Fighter 2's blocking animation and just threw it in there. So I definitely heard that.
And the thing when you have like a hyper tag fighter, it's like hits come fast. It's not like Street Fighter. It's like sometimes a little bit more spaced out. So you hear these sounds again and again. Then again, the game is still really early, and they are asking for not a insignificant amount of money. But I think we've all seen over the years that with like, back when Skullgirls had its Kickstarter or Indiegogo or whatever it was, like to make actual fighting games is not cheap. It's not like a little 2D, Mega Man game that, you can make for like $20K or less. Like, so what they're proposing is still a lot, and it's like starting off pretty slowly, but I really like this concept and this idea. Like, I think it's
to be honest, unique. They have a good hook. Like
they do, exactly.
The whole thing of like, hey, we're just going to put you. Like, imagine the invisible hands of children holding the toys and then beating each other up. Like, that is kind of what they're going for. And it's like, to me, this feels like a modern day, like, Clay Fighter,
Yeah.
Very similar. Where the whole point of Clay Fighter is that, if you slap together a whole bunch of Play-Doh and get them to fight each other, this is what it would be like. This is, you throw some toys in the middle of the room and get them to fight each other. This is what it's like, very similar. The problem is, the nice thing about this one looks good.
It looks really good.
Really pulls it off in a way that I think a modern day fighting game can look and should look. I think it's really cool.
And it's like not even just like fighting game or like cartoon stuff. It's like, I think the amphibian like looking guy, like he makes those rattly plastic snakes that you would play with, that were segmented. You just hold them out and they could like move. Like he summons those and like a wave of them comes out and hits you. So it's like stuff outside just the action figure realm and more like toy stuff in general, I think is there. So yeah, like, I'm sure we'll put a link in the description for this one for people that have missed it, but it has a publicly
I need to make a video on it too.
Yeah, like you can. I think right now it's just versus and like
versus
and practice.
CPU and training mode. That's really it.
It's a demo. Yeah, they literally give you like how many characters are in that demo? Do you know? Six. That's a lot. That's a lot of characters, and they're mostly complete.
I'm not sure if they're complete, but you know they do their act. They pretty much do all their combos and playable and
they're mostly done. That's a lot. Like they've been working on this thing for a long time.
But I think like they have like their prices is what it is because it's like they're planning like a lot of stuff for it, you know, to hit the stretch goals and things like that. So I think there's like, you know, even more characters planned, like you know, little story mode, that type of thing, and even more stuff after that. And it's like, yeah, when you put a publicly playable demo out, it's like it's right there. You can just play it. Like I totally get when there's not a demo available and people are like, I'm not sure. I don't know. But I think they put that out like because people were asking. I think they had like a demo where it's like, you know, maybe give it to a few people, that type of thing. But, you know, if you get everyone able to play it, just go hands on with it, press buttons, and you can see like how much potential it has. So hopefully it makes it.
Yeah, because the only time people were able to play it before now was if you were at shows because the first time they showed it was like last year's Dominican Republic tournament because they're from DR. They're a studio from DR, so they're trying to make it happen, man. And I think the game, like you said, the game looks good. Combo system is like really fluid, and I hope they do make it because it's definitely one of the better looking like indie fighting games.
This is one of those projects that is like you hear of these giant studio cancellations and these hundreds of millions of dollars of games that like Sony and Microsoft put all their money into and then they just don't pan out. Where it's like you could have made like 20 of these. Like 20 games, 10 to 20 games on this level of scale, you know, and just had them come out. And here's the thing, if even one of them hits and it just does pretty big numbers, or even 5 of them do moderately well, they're doing better than any other game. But the problem is every company is now so big picture focused where they're just like, hey, all the money from this, we're going to make every single dollar-y-do you could possibly make, you know, and there's no other way out. And if it doesn't work, they're all toast, you know?
Like I want to say like maybe like 10 years ago, like 2012, 2013, 2014, around then was like a lot of major publishers had these like smaller labels. It was like
Xbox Live Arcade
or EA Originals or something like that, where it would like Unravel by EA, which is like, you know, like a little platformer thing. And they just stopped doing that. They're like, no. And it's because those games didn't sell like 5 million copies. Well, they're not supposed to. They're really not supposed to. I'll never get why that type of stuff doesn't continue. Like put out a moderately sized and scoped and game and get moderate amount of money back. No, we have to make all there was the Disney mentality back in the day. Our game isn't successful enough. We needed to make all the money. All of it. That's the thing that happened with Disney Infinity, where it's like Disney Infinity was doing just fine. That was a little amiibo game. Yeah. And it was doing just fine. It sold like a bunch, but it didn't sell what they needed it to. It is actually profitable, but it needed to make all the money. This is only making us like 10% of our profits. We need to make 50 to 70%. And it's like, well, let's just cancel it, even if it's profitable. Was that the one where it's like the first 2 seasons were like pretty successful and they undershipped the amiibos? Yes. And then for the last season, they overshipped the amiibos? Yes. But then incredibly stupid. By the 3rd season, you're gonna sell less. Like you're just gonna at that point. So like no confidence in the product, you know, type of thing. Like anyway, this is kind of one of those games that would just be absolutely amazing under like an Xbox moniker or like a PlayStation or something that pops up on Switch here and there and then eventually shows up on everything else. Just get them to like, if these companies were able to do stuff like that and actually have, because we're going to get to that point, bro. We're going to get XBLA back or some shit. We're going to get these like Sony originals. It's going to fucking happen, dude.
Eventually. I feel like it's coming.
Yeah, hopefully.
But you know, besides this knockoff, this period had so many indie fighting games in general. Yeah, like the last month. Oh yeah. When I was in Asia, I was like, Corrupt came out, and I was like, wait, if that game finally came out for a demo, so that was really cool.
And
then-
Justin, Terradrome, the one that we played, the 3D one, like last year, that's out of early
That
access.
finally
and that's
came
like
out.
Oh, really?
complete.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mr.
nice.
Brad's game came out.
Yeah. So we talked about that while you were away.
Yeah.
That's out on Steam, not out on consoles yet, but like now it's like feature character complete and stuff. So
I'll always
remember
have
that
good memories
character
of.
missing?
I'll always have good memories of Terradrome, like the first Terradrome, and then obviously the new one. What is the name? What
Yeah.
is the official name of the new one? I keep forgetting.
Reign of the Legends, I think.
Yeah, Reign of Legends, and
Yeah.
where we were in the chat, like figuring out this game, which was essentially like a fan-made free game because they couldn't sell it because of Ghost Face and everybody, right? And then we were playing like, oh, this game's got some sauce, and then some guy just kept
does.
telling us what you could do, and we're like, dude, how do you know so much about this game? He's like, I made it. I'm like, oh, this is one of the devs, like one of the 2 devs that worked on the game. So he gave us all these wild combos with Ghostface and shit.
That Terradrome, the original one, I don't know if you'd agree on this, Max, but it's like I felt like, oh, I shouldn't be playing this. Like this is a naughty game. Like it felt so underground. And, But then when it was, you realize, hey, this is actually really fun and good, and you see how much work they put into it for free.
Yeah.
Because I
Oh, yeah.
think they got a DMCA, not DMCA,
Cease and desist.
C&D, yes, thank you. Where they're like, oh, okay, then we really can't have a link on here, but they were still able to like kind of get around that for a little while, where it's like, hey, if you find it, you can find it, and they still worked on it, doing bug fixes and things. So like, yeah, mad respect to those guys. I hope the current one, the new one, can come out on consoles so more people can enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are a lot of indie stuff coming out. And speaking of which, we just talked about Ghost Face, brand new character for Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah.
Apparently, I think he's delayed. I think the date that
really?
was on here was not the date that was originally present. Now he's like the 19th or something like that. I actually have to check this. I have not watched this video yet.
19th.
Early access November
early
19th now.
Yeah, and then now 26 for everybody else, I believe.
Gotcha.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's great to have this Halloween character like close to Christmas.
Close to Thanksgiving.
close to Thanksgiving.
Close to American Thanksgiving.
When
yeah.
I think of Thanksgiving, I think of Ghostface.
Yeah.
But yeah, this trailer has him wearing like a bunch of different masks. Like he gets like Scorpion and Sub-Zero's like faceplate, which is pretty cool. That's a
Yeah.
good way to do it because, just when a character's already wearing a mask, why not go ham with it? So
Oh, they show like no gameplay in here.
No.
yeah, it's like little snippets.
It's all little spicy cinematic stuff. Okay.
spicy.
It's literally a perfect trailer that would be perfect if it came out for Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I think Ghostface is one of the more popular characters in this second season of Mortal Kombat 1. I think I'm personally the most excited for Conan.
Conan?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, bro.
Conan.
He loves his Conan.
Definitely curious about Conan because I'm like a Tusk fan from KI and shit.
Yeah.
But sorry, 1 second before we move on from Ghostface. It's also because I think the reason he was signed specifically is because a Scream movie was supposed to be out by now.
Oh.
And that got completely scrapped and they had to recast everything. And now they got lost the director. So that thing is now like probably next year or even later.
Oh,
but I think
yeah.
originally it was supposed to be filmed like somewhat.
And that's like New Line Cinema or something like that, right?
I forget who, honestly.
Probably.
But maybe not supposed to be done by now, but like they were supposed to start filming it like earlier this year or something like that. So it might have been much closer to when like that movie eventually.
Yeah, that makes
dropped,
perfect
so.
sense that they would want a Scream movie with the marketability of a Halloween holiday time frame. Yeah.
Because they did like to WB and NetherRealm's credit, they timed Invincible and Homelander
And Omni-Man right around the
perfectly.
next season.
Yeah, Omni-Man, like everything started and The Boys started like just as those characters were coming out. So everyone was able to like cross promote and like, all the social medias were just going, hey, the Boys social media is like, hey, look, you can fight Ed Boon at the show and you can play as Homelander, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like they don't really got that. And they certainly can't do that with fucking Conan and T-1000, who I just remembered is in the game. I was like, yeah, Conan and Ghostface, that's it. And then I was like, oh, wait, the T-1000.
T-1000 is in the game. It's interesting. Mortal Kombat 1's an interesting game. I mean, just
is.
speaking on a broad level to give them credit, and I've tried to give the game credit for a while now, because the gameplay is getting better, right? They still got the wonky controls, but the characters, Noob Saibot's super cool, man. And
That's what I hear. Yeah.
he's in such a cool version of a character, like one of the sickest MK ninjas I think they've ever made. So, to give them credit, the game is getting more interesting to play, more interesting to watch. I'm enjoying watching it personally a lot more than ever before. And there's a lot more variety in terms of like, so what assists are good? Is it always, the Lao hat assist for neutral? And it's like, no, it's not that anymore. A lot of people use combo extension assists now to convert throws into big combos and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So it's very, and it's really good looking on PC. I got to give them credit. Like I played the game on PC and it might have had some issues at the start, but it was gorgeous looking. I was like, damn, dude, this is really pretty. This is a very good looking game, but you still got to deal with all their online and you're looking at a little field, for 90%
you have
your
the
experience.
ability to get this costume for 3 days and then the costume is taken away.
Oh yeah.
Still,
Yeah, that's the WB-ness kicking in.
I know.
Yeah,
but
that's going to be added to Webster's next year. We're going to talk about the WB-ness so much throughout 2023. 2024.
Which game did not have WB-ness? There's a specific one that didn't have anything.
Mortal Kombat X.
No. So the answer is 9 because X still had fatality tokens and buying them.
Yeah, but
it was the least amount for sure. But 9 had none of that.
To be real, there was an element of WB-ness I really appreciated about MKX because they were like, hey, all the brutalities and the unlockables for all the characters.
That's true.
Every bit of the crypt. Do you want that? And I'm like, yeah, I do. They're like, do you want to spend 40 to 60 hours doing it? And I'm like, no, I don't. And they're like, then give us $20. And at one point I was like, as a content creator, I almost appreciated that. Where it's like, yeah, I want all the brutalities and shit, dude, just give them to me. And then in all the subsequent games that came after that, they piecemealed that shit for years where it's like, you cannot get that anymore.
Because that's like a modern wrestling game thing when you play like a WWE game. I'm not sure if they still have it, but around that time frame that MKX came out, you'd start up a new wrestling game, the yearly one, and say, just give us $40. You get everything.
Everything's unlocked.
That's crazy.
Yeah. When you start up the game, it's a picture of a hand, and the hand's just reaching out, like just give it. And you unlock all characters, all attires, all wrestling venues, and that's it. I love like Capcom release just how the balls release like a Street Fighter 7. It's like a hand is just like, no.
Yeah.
More.
More. Let's talk about EVO France lineup was announced. So the games that will be showing up at EVO France this year, they had a big old spectacle thing. They had a new Fatal Fury trailer, which we'll talk about, which seemed pretty cool. But there was also like the listing of which games are going to be at EVO France this year. And it's the typical. It's like, hey, Guilty Gear's there, my dude. Brother Tekken is there, Street Fighter's there, new Fatal Fury's there. Here's a trailer. You excited? Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising, that's cool. That game's great. And also, the last big mystery game, Dragon Ball Fighters. Dragon Ball Fighters is the final game, which is pretty surprising to me at EVO France. But that makes sense because the French FGC has a pretty huge like community for Dragon Ball Fighters.
That's why it made sense for me, just because like there was like literally like 2 to 3 years dominance of just like nobody could touch France in Dragon Ball. Like Dragon Ball was France. It was like the equivalent of like how USA loves Marvel.
Well,
like
very
it's
true.
literally like in terms
how
of that.
France loves Soul Calibur,
Yeah, and that's why it makes sense why Dragon Ball is there. And then a lot of people, I think, because when I first saw the lineup, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like that whole lineup looks completely right. And then all the comments were like, yo, bro, where's Mortal Kombat?
Yep.
And I'm like, I mean, Mortal Kombat's not
and that's what we're getting
Europe
to.
game. You know what I mean?
After the last news of MK, there's no MK1.
But there's like even a greater reason than this. Like Dragon Ball just by itself is insanely popular in France.
Sure.
Like France, Italy, places like that, like were like the first to translate a lot of mangas and stuff.
Sure.
So back when I was a kid, like 97, I could only read Dragon Ball in French because they would import the mangas and put them in Quebec where like the predominant language is French. So I'd be reading like "Je te Vegeta. Like anytime someone like, you know, when a Dragon Ball character like touches down on like a rock or like the ground after like doing some cool air combo or whatever, or a blast, like every time it'd be like tack. It would just say tack, TAC, and like, and anytime someone say damn, they'd say zut, like every 3 seconds. So as soon as I saw this listing, I was like, that's why Dragon Ball is there, because there's such a big bunch of Dragon Ball fans. Therefore, there's going to be an FGC community around it. Therefore, one of them has to go, and it's going to be Mortal Kombat. If this took place in the UK, fucking Ketchup and Mustard would have just made it happen, and MK1 would have made it for sure.
Dragon Ball is probably going to be one of like maybe the top 3, top 4 games here, for sure. But there's another game on here that I'm like almost surprised, and that has a maybe similar level of like competition, if not competitive element participants, and it's pretty much Grand Blue. Like Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising is doing just fine, and it's a great game. But I'd argue that MK1 is comparable, where the amount of people that might show up for an MK1 situation might be a similar amount. Of all of those titles, like Fatal Fury is going to have a ton because it's year 1. But Guilty Gear, Tekken, Street Fighter, that's good. Dragon Ball is sort of the wrench. Okay, but that's going to do good because it's effectively like the Marvel 3 of this situation. It's going to do just fine. To me, like Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising sort of took the spot of what normally would be MK1 when people are looking at Dragon Ball took the spot.
I get it, because Grand Blue would definitely be number 5 in terms of entrance on the list, but it's a huge number difference because Evo last year, it was over 1,000 people for Grand Blue.
Good point.
So because it was over 1,000 people, and Mortal Kombat was like under 500.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, even though they're like back next to each other, it's a huge gap.
So maybe looking at that from a strict entrance standpoint, this starts to make a lot more sense. Where for their final game, their 6th game at Evo Japan, they're like, all right, so Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising, they are already Evo is already very much in bed with
Cygames.
With Cygames, thank you. They're already very much like been working with them on a variety of projects and games and stuff, and Grand Blue from the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
But then Mortal Kombat and WB, there just hasn't been enough, I'd say, pull from the game competitively. So I don't know.
I mean, I think Mortal Kombat will make it in whenever they do the Evo USA announcement, though.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Because Evo USA is 8 games versus 6.
It is. But we're also going to be...
You have 2 more to work with.
We had KOF 15 last year, right? We did.
Yeah,
we did. We did. I remember watching that. And that's going to be effectively replaced by Fatal Fury. So there's a pretty good chance that Grand Blue and obviously Mortal Kombat could be there and occupy those spots. Unless something crazy happens, like and some new thing pops out of the middle of nowhere. It feels like we kind of know what next year's Evo lineup is going to be. Yeah,
I mean, you could kind of guess pretty much all the Evo games for next year. I guess the only one is like, is Marvel 2 going to make it? Or is it going to be CVS 2?
Absolutely. Yeah, the big question now for Evo next year is what the hell the retro game is going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it kind of has to be
MVC
2. Right.
I feel like it has to be, but then I don't know. I'm thinking of like Rick is like, do we have to do Capcom game 3 years in a row?
Good.
Well, the only from me, I think of it from like an Evo and Sony thing. You want worldwide competitions that will bring a whole bunch of people together to one spot and have them travel and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that this doesn't exist for other games like Accent Core, KOF 98, 2002, like all that kind of stuff, right? Doesn't not exist for those games. But if it was like Third Strike or Marvel 3 or a Marvel 2 situation, all old AF games, yeah, dude, people will show. Like you're definitely going to get 500 to 1,000 entrants if it's MVC2, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like it'll be a lot.
Yeah.
So people will be showing up out of the woodwork for that shit, dude. Like all the old Marvel heads will be showing up, and they're not. It doesn't seem like there's that many of them, but they're very separated and scattered. It's like at the end of a movie.
No,
when
there's a
all
lot- there's
the
a lot of
characters move
OGs.
away from their adventures, and you got to go like we have to get the band back together type shit. It's kind of like that. So
It is.
No,
it
yeah,
is.
that's how I felt when playing rank match. When you see the teams, where you're like, this guy picked Iceman, Cable, Commando, Guile, Cable. I'm like, oh, okay, this is the year one guy.
Justin's like, I'm gonna bully the fuck out of this dude. Like, that's what
This is the
he's
year
like.
one. This is the year one guy. He's gonna come to Evo because he's the year
Never
one
let
guy.
him play with Jill.
Your
anyway.
bullying is off the charts lately. It's been
It's
rough
not.
to watch.
What do you? No, it's not. It's. I feel like I've been pretty lenient because
Okay.
I'm playing random teams. Like there's people that only play top tier. So if they see you play Charlie, you're gonna fight Sentinel. Like I'm not gonna. If I see you pick Charlie, I'm not gonna pick Sentinel against
Justin
you.
is saying, Matt, is true. Like if he doesn't, he's not picking the mad good teams. But what Justin is not realizing is that he's so good at the rest of the game that it looks like
it
this should be a punishable
qualifies
offense. It
as
looks like you're
bullying.
going to federal prison if you keep doing this, Justin. It's going to.
yeah.
It's not going to be good for you.
Yeah, I don't think I could survive in federal prison anyway.
from using Dulcim against some poor bitch.
You're
So-
getting your
so
photo
why-
taken. You're getting your photo taken at the police precinct. Just says Wasler.
So why you're in here? I played Marvel 2.
And stop bullying.
So in the same vein, yeah, Kim Dong Hwan was announced for City of the Wolves. This is Kim's child?
Yep.
The child of Kim Cap-1.
Okay, so is it his child or is it like adopted?
I was
'Cause,
always confused
they're-
by this.
They're both kind of different. The brothers are both different.
Yeah, it's in classic Fatal Fury games, like special, and then one of the real bouts. Like Kim's two sons come out during like victory
okay.
animations and
okay.
stuff, but they're never named as far as I know. So it's only in Garo where Kim Dong Hwan and Kim Jae Hoon showed up. Jae Hoon is the one that has like the fire stuff around. Like
Yeah.
his
Yeah,
special
he's
moves.
fire. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because there's multiple Cap-1s. It was Jae Hoon that was playable in Gauro, right?
Both
They both were.
They
playable
both
in-
were,
in
okay.
Garo.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
They were like the yin and yang of that.
Yeah,
game.
yin and
That's what I
Yang.
remember.
Yeah.
There was like, I was like, was that Kim actually in the game? I could never remember
No,
because I didn't play a ton
he's not in
of
the
Gauro.
game. Actual Kim is not in the game. His sons are. One's lightning, one's fire.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Dong Hwan is back, the quote unquote fire one.
Lightning.
No, the
Lightning.
electric one.
One, and he is extremely combo centric, like tons of like
Very.
huge hits on combos, like carrying all the way from the right to left side of the screen. Very much looks like a Cap-1. Some of like the traditional dive kick stuff, like all the multi kick stuff in the air. Looks pretty
Max, do
cool.
you-
I did not
do you
love his
have-
design.
Do you have anything to say about the design in terms of pants? Do you have any comments about pants?
Pants look good. The pants look good, my dude. Like SNK and pants are like, peanut butter and jelly. Like I don't know what.
The second I saw this trailer and I see how billowy, how plush soft
Bro,
these pants are, I was
motherfucker
like,
is
Max
wearing those
gonna go
jinkos. Like he
nuts.
is ready to go.
I
That's
get
a
what
slumber
you're-
party.
I get what you're saying about his design. It's mostly the same to what he used to wear, but here's the thing. This is the first Fatal Fury character we've seen that was in Garo that
Yes.
has had a slight redesign because Jenny didn't, Rock didn't, neither did Terry. I think that's Hotaru and Tizok and even
Yeah,
Marco.
that makes sense. Yeah, you're
none
right.
of them got anything, so I wonder what they didn't need to. But I mean, it's I don't know. It is kind of somewhat generic in a way, and he has that yellow and blue jacket put around his waist, which seems kind of odd. But then you know what I realized? This costume design made me go, "Oh, I can just color edit that."
So I was wondering maybe like the reason why they gave him like this red white beater thing instead of the gi.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because that's reserved for Ken?
No, Ken's gonna have. He's not gonna. That's a Street Fighter
6?
Five.
You think it's gonna be
design.
Street Fighter 6, Ken?
He's gonna have a Street Fighter 6 design.
I'm still not 100% on that.
I think he was just changed for the sake of being changed. Like
It's just
Billy
weird
or-
because he's like the only character change out of everybody.
I get it,
like
but
nobody
Billy-
else got changed.
Billy's way different.
Yeah, but he wasn't in Garo.
I get
Yeah,
it.
he was never
but-
in Garo.
But still, like he's way different. Like I
He
think
is,
these just changed for the sake of changing him. I don't know if it's anything
Maybe.
related to Ken.
Unless they're like, because if they're gonna announce Jae Hoon, maybe he'll have the gi instead.
Yeah, because he's the more serious of the two. Like he's a little more like dedicated to Taekwondo. Here's the thing with these two characters, Jae-hoon and Dong Hwan, is that like I can't decide which one of those I like playing as more. They're both really fun. One's attitude is a bit more like, spunky and like, rambunctious, like Dong Hwan, but Jae-hoon's more serious. But it's like Jae-hoon's fucking cool too. It's like
I love Dong Hwan.
Yeah, Yin and Yang. I prefer Yang. But these two, like, I can never really decide. If we're gonna get both of them and no Kim, like actual like Kim Kapwan, then like I'm fine with that, I guess.
Yeah, same.
But I hope they add Jae-hoon as well, because I think like there could be some animation overlap or model overlap that they can use there, because they certainly had that in Garo. Like they
kind of have to.
Yeah, right.
They kind of have to add him at this point. Like you having Dong Hwan is like for sure. You're telling us the next announcement character is going to be Jae-hoon.
2 characters left to show for the core roster.
So no, someone said there's like 5 left, but I think that might be someone still conflating the DLC
Ronaldo
with that.
Ronaldo.
Yeah, DLC doesn't. I think they said 17 characters at launch.
It's still mysterious.
Yeah,
because some people said the opposite. I don't know which the
game is looking hella good though.
There's
like,
so many more like added hit effects now.
Better hit effects. Their shader got better. Their outlines got better. Their lighting got better. I'm like, bro, this game is looking fucking great now. Like it is so good.
You don't understand. I was so sad.
We've all played it. It's mad fun.
Yeah,
so sad?
I was so sad because when I was in Singapore, like they were at Thailand game show, and I'm like, you chose the wrong event to go to, because I wanted to play some City of the Wolves.
You can play Mai and stuff like that.
Yeah, mine is playable there. Oh, that sucks. I didn't even think about that. I kind of thought in my head, I was like, oh yeah, Justin will be able to make me check something out and talk about it. But yeah, that sucks. But so then 2 left. You're saying if it's the base roster?
Yeah, I think so. That's what my chat was saying, that there's 2 left, and I'm like, oh, okay.
So Jay, if you had to guess, I mean, I would say it has to be Jae-hoon, but who would be your second pick?
Gato.
I was gonna say I hope Gato comes back. I realized he was just in KOF, but we don't have Gato.
But so is
and
Jenny.
Who's the other guy? Who's the
Rock?
Freeman.
No, Freeman's not making it.
No. I mean, like, I'm just saying the other 2 people from the original Garo roster that are left is Freeman and
Hoku Tomorrow. And then the bosses.
And
I think Hoku Tomorrow's going to make it. The little ninja kid, right?
He is different. I don't want him.
What about...
he's very different.
What's Kane? Isn't Kane supposed to be part of the story?
Pretty sure I thought he gets killed. Does he not?
Does not the guy that has the half mask sort of Kane-like?
Grant.
That's for Grant.
That's Grant. Sorry, yeah.
And he's confirmed to be dead because Vox Reaper has his mask or whatever.
Yeah, I thought Kane wasn't dead. I thought Rock and Kane were.
Oh wait, no,
learning.
Yes, of course, no, yeah, Kane does. Yeah, you're totally right. Kane's not dead. He goes with Rock at the end of Rock's ending, and he was in the artwork. But the artwork still has Andy and Joe.
Oh,
with new costumes.
Right. Good point. And so then there's the question: do you just run into Andy and Joe in their like world tour thing that they have?
World tour. They're just hype men from now on.
Well, it's weird because Andy's dressed like a bartender, so like that almost makes you feel it's like
he's an NPC.
He's an NPC. Yeah. So I don't
Still
know.
many questions, dude. We've been teased of this game for a long time now.
It's nice that we don't know. Like, it's not fun when it's like, oh, it's going to be these 2 characters and that's it. Like,
yes, it's very nice being told that Ken's in the game at 4:00 in the morning.
I think they're done with new characters for now. Like, I think like the rest has to be like older characters or like new Fatal Fury characters that were in the older games and not in Garo. I think they have enough new so far, and then maybe for DLC in the future they'll have another new character. But yeah, exciting times for that game.
We were talking about Tekken 8 earlier and sort of like the mismanagement of some games like MK1 and Tekken 8's and a rocky place here and there. We talked about the crazy stage thing and how they did it backwards. They should have charged for the story back then. They should have charged us for the story and just given us the stage for free. Everyone would have been fine with that. But they didn't. They charged you $5 for a stage and the story was free. And then it got everyone big mad. So Harada-san was like, chill out. and they're trying to rectify their problem by giving everyone 500 apology coins. I hope they're called that. I hope they're not called Tekken coins. You have received 500 apology coins.
I wish.
No, it says Tekken coins.
I know, but they should be special. And they're going to be giving those away for like a week from the 29th to November 26th. So I'm sorry, not a week.
Okay.
It's like a whole month.
Yeah, I think it's something like you have to log into the game during that time frame to claim it, which is cool because it's like the people that didn't even get the season pass or whatever, or like,
You're just getting coins.
You're just still getting coins. So everyone gets something. So regardless, but like still
This is the Tekken stimulus package.
I feel like we still got one or two or more of these down the line. Like
charged sages?
Yeah, or some sort of snafu when it comes to coins and stuff. Because I don't know, this seems like such an easy thing to not mess up that like there'll be more complicated things down the line that like they may screw up. And
sure.
I don't, it doesn't feel good to say that. Just like there's just something about the way Tekken's DLC rollout has been where it's like kind of glacial. Like it's been pretty slow and like sort of uneventful. It's nice that the story thing came out. I still haven't played that, by the way. I really need to get on that.
Yeah, and Tekken, we were also talking about it in this same time frame. Got a big balance patch, not a big one. I'd say a medium balance patch. Addresses some characters like Dragunov and stuff like that. They were doing pretty good. They had this one string that was like super good.
Yeah,
and it toned down a little bit of the scaling and all that stuff and the tracking. So not every character, like, did they buff a lot of the low tiers a ton? I don't think so. But still, like,
no, not really.
They're working on it. They're still figuring out the balance of the game. But Tekken, understand, Tekken is currently going through the exact same thing that Street Fighter 6 went through when there was like an 8 to 10 to 12 month period after the game came out where everyone's just like, this shit sucks, quote unquote. All the people that like seem to play it, or everyone that has opinions on Hellscape Twitter, this game sucks. Like we're in that spot right now. So this is just accompanying that. Everyone's just sort of saying, I don't like this game. It's so mashy. It isn't mashy enough. Like there's big complaints for everything, you know?
It's the flow chart is very strong for Tekken 8 right now.
Right now 50-50s are all the craze.
Yeah. And a lot of people are very upset, especially the legacy players, because like Tekken is full of legacy skill where it's like if you have been playing Tekken since the dawn of time, you should never beat me. But Tekken 8 is like
historically,
you know what?
Yeah.
You have to take this 50-50 like everybody else, no matter how good you are.
So here's the weird thing about that from an outsider's perspective that isn't keeping up with everything, but I'm looking at tournament results. I look at tournament results and I see the same goddamn names I have been seeing in Tekken for like 15 years.
No, 100%, you're right.
And I'm like, you guys are good. Like, this is not a completely new generation just came in, dropped in, and kicked all of the old heads in the ass, and they're gone. Like, no. Like, Pakistan is still friggin' amazing at the game. All the same players from there, all the same Korean players, like, all the same people that are good. They're still good. They're still, like, some of the best.
I think it's because it's the matches are very close. Like it's just like down to the wire. It's bad for their heart, like they haven't felt stress in a very, very long time.
Yes.
So like everyone is a Arslan Ash when you're fighting them. So like, they only want to fight one Arslan Ash. They don't want to fight 10.
And I'm just going to throw this out. Like, I'll have to make a video about this eventually. It's like a lot of the complaints about Tekken 8 right now are hyper-focusing 50-50s. Okay? Yeah. And yeah, I get it. Like, I'll take a 50-50 mix-up over, like, a strike-throw fighting game. Like, just any day of the week. Those are, like, the two barometers of how do you want to mix a bitch. So, all I have to say is that 50-50s are not that scary, my dude. You have to guess one or the other. That's it. And even
I don't
if
even
you
think
guess
50-50 is
and read
that bad,
it,
yeah.
you're good. Like, you could guess 50-50 10 times in a row, and it's going to seem like you're an unstoppable monster, but you just were, like, good on that. You have never, ever experienced the incoming mix of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Like, there is 30 50-50s in the span of 5 seconds. Like, it's a fucking nightmare, dude.
Yeah, I don't think 50-50 is that bad. For me, when I look at the game, I'm like, man, the chip damage is crazy.
It's the chip, yes.
Yeah, the
it's
chip
the other
damage
things.
goes crazy. Like, I'm watching, I'm like, yo, all that health where you just block it and everything, like, that's not even a 50-50. You're just getting chipped out. Like, that's the problem, in my personal opinion, because the chip damage is extremely high.
100%. And I think to be the biggest change of this game outside of the aggressive mechanics and forcing people to engage each other isn't just the reason of the engagement to fight. It's that engagement is heavily incentivized in the life bar outside of just removing life. There are now this weird push and pull. The life bar is a push and pull similar to Street Fighter 6, where the green shit is a push and pull, where you have to like really manage that. Now the amount of recoverable health and all this shit when you use your heat engagers and stuff like that to like use armor to get off me type of moves, like this is all now a part of the balance of Tekken 8 to mitigate the hyper offensive element of it. So I think that's kind of cool because even when I'm still playing the game, I'm not really paying attention to that stuff because there's so much in Tekken 8 to gather. I'm not really looking at my life bar going, I have 25% recoverable health in this very moment as I am trying to sidestep, dodge left, punish this, do this, like 90 fucking moves. Like, no. It'll take forever to get to the point where it's like, I need to cause a ton of chip damage to get my life back. Like, there is so many levels to the game that I really appreciate that I think it's still fun. I think it's good.
Fun. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I still think this is for me personally one of the most enjoyable Tekken games, but I understand you don't do anything else but play Tekken. I get it. And if this was any other fighting game in that situation, if you did nothing else but play that one fighting game, I 100% guarantee you'd hate it right now in the same time frame as well.
Same thing with Mortal Kombat. Really.
MK1, same problem.
Just play Mortal Kombat. It's like
Street Fighter 6, same thing, dude.
Yeah. Just
anyway.
Not with Bloody Roar though. Bloody Roar players are all happy.
They want more people to play Bloody Roar.
Yeah, that's it. Good point.
Then what else do we have? The MVCIB update. I'm trying to get Justin in on this thing. Matt, if you want it as well, just let me know.
I would like to check it out. Yes.
We did send out, so the 23rd is about a week ago, we had a new update for the game. And I guess I could just go over it really fast. Big visual overhaul, outline overhaul. Characters' outlines aren't going through effects nearly as much, but they're still there to a certain degree. Helps the readability of the game. All the characters' core costumes outside of one, which is like Thor, their colors 1 through 4 are pretty much done and personally like polished by myself, every single one. Nice. So everyone looks really good now. We did some testing with good players to see the game played at high speed. And it looks way better than it did in the previous, because as soon as I saw the game played at professional speed, our art style fell apart. And I was like, ooh, this is messy. We have to change this. So that's what we spent the last couple months doing. But a ton of new details, like actual artwork on our characters has changed. So we had Angry D or D-Slugs doing a bunch of stuff for us, but he's also directly drawing on the models of several characters and adding line work. So a lot of the detail of our game looks substantially different for like half of the roster. And then some of the others are going to get it as well, like Carol or, Captain Marvel and stuff like that. So it looks much better. What are the other shit that we announced? We announced that
main menu. Illustrations.
We actually showed off what our main menu looks like. Gave a tease at what our character select artwork is going to look like without the character select being completely done. Got people to hear all the new music that's in the game from Little V and everything nice. Across the menus, across the board. And we also had Alex Mukala make us a Strider theme, which was dope. They're all making more stuff right now to fill out the rest. I'm going to have Little V make a lobby theme because you hear the lobby online music a lot. We're going to change that. What else is there? Oh, and because we knew that the game is going to be played by a lot of people that don't want to play online, that just want to like play the game as a video game, we made it so that the arcade mode and the appropriate modes where you just fight like NPC, just CPU fights and stuff like that, are going to be supported. So that means when you get to Ultron Sigma and you get to Ultron Omega, they will have the visual overhaul. And
that's godlike.
We spent a ton of time getting both of those characters visually up to date, all of their lighting, all of the cool stuff, several people, and a polish from myself to make sure that all that shit looks amazing. So when you fight them, it looks really good. So that's good. And then we ran into another problem when we were testing that. We're like, okay, so when you fight against the AI in this game and you have like the deluxe version, guess what happens? The CPU almost randomizes the teams you're fighting against. and we can't control that. So that random element makes it so that they get random costumes. So their alternate costumes were showing up constantly. We would play through a mode, and then you'd fight against Hagar, and it'd be alternate costume Hagar, which we did not have plans to flatten and apply the visuals to the alternate costumes of all the characters in the game. But it was a pretty big visual disparity. It was like, yeah, this sucks. It kind of like messes with our whole plan because half of the game doesn't have the visuals. So we kind of made the commitment. All of the alternate costumes are going to get the visual overhaul.
Damn, okay.
And we're already like 75% of the way flattening. You know, Zeno is one of our main artists on that, and I have to go through and polish 36, 38 characters times 4. I have to do that again. So we're going to have a very busy couple of months because we're launching before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
damn, okay.
So you're still not getting enough sleep then?
Not really. It's been a very busy October for me. Just getting this stuff ready to go. And it's going to get even busier because we have a lot more stuff that we need to get into the game and sort of ready to go. But I think we're all at a spot where we've effectively landed and hit on all the things we wanted to. And there's a couple of issues here and there that we still have to solve. But what I wanted for a 1.0 is kind of like done. And it needs polish and it needs that refinement to get it to the point where it's like, okay, our overall package needs to be good and we just need to line up on everything. It's still going to be really expensive and I have to spend a lot of money on it and a lot of time, which is even more money technically. But still, I want to do it, man. This is like, if there's one project I'm going to put all my time into, it's going to be a Marvel versus Capcom project of some kind, even if it is infinite. And we want to make this game look good. So I kind of made the announcement at the end of the show that once we reach 1.0, I'm pretty much done. I'm going to have to specifically separate this stuff from my DNA. Have to like leave the Discord and stuff like that because I can't just have it there anymore. I have to separate myself from the project.
Because then you'll just never stop.
I just won't stop.
Right. Yeah, you're just like, oh, I wonder what they're doing right now. Let me go check.
And I'll pretty much that's what happened before. I not force myself, but like it was always there. And constantly looking and adjusting and making comments and doing this and directing, you know, it became a lot. So I have to get my life back effectively. Next year, that's the whole, like, let's make my New Year's resolution is to get my life back, my daily life back.
Yeah.
So that I can have a normal daily life. And then we ship this and we're just kind of good with it. But I'm still going to support the whole team because the whole team can do, we're just sort of leaving it open-ended that anyone can do whatever they want with MVCIB. And at that point, I still want to contribute budget. I'll still give them money to solve issues, to like create new things and solve issues. So in the same way that I was like commissioning the Marvel 3 mod community, I wanted to do the same thing for the Infinite and Beyond community and be like, hey, if you guys want to do cool stuff and get this added in or commission more music, I'll 100% do it. That's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because time is like a thing where it's like that you can't get that back easily. So just giving people support, but not
And I get it. Like me and Justin know, like as a dad, when you're busy throughout a year, like they go by really fast. And I like lost my 2024. I'm not even thinking of it, bro. I like lost this year because I've been so busy with this shit. And I'm like, yeah, I just cannot have projects that I'm working on in the day and then also managing a YouTube team and streaming at night for like 5 to 8 hours a day. Like this is too much. So
yeah,
I'm having to separate myself for that reason.
Not trying to advocate for you to take this on as a next project, but just when you were saying filling stuff in, things that are like missing or need to be fixed or whatever, it just reminded me of, because we haven't mentioned it yet in this episode, KI 2013. There's little bits that are still kind of missing to that game, and I don't even know if it'd be possible in the future for someone, any mod team, to just go in, like, can we give this character like you know how Shadow Jago has at least his variant of Jago stage?
Sure.
It's like at least that type of stuff for the other characters that have not even that, like Mira or Rash or something like that, and just like the little bits of armor sets, of clothing sets that like a few people don't have any. Like,
for sure.
The things like that, because that's always still like on my mind. I think about that, like, man, that game is not 1,000% complete. It's
Yeah.
like just
And
a few decimals off.
I'm here to crush your dreams right now.
Thank you.
The dream crusher is that Killer Instinct was made in this little thing called the Hex engine.
Weird ass old engine.
Yeah. And outside of the original developers like Double Helix, who got splintered off into a multitude of other teams and did other things, they're gone. The only other people that had experience with the Hex engine and actually came back to it a year ago was Iron Galaxy.
Yeah.
They're done with Killer Instinct now. They did their job. So the only person outside of Iron Galaxy that has that experience with the Hex engine is me. And I don't have that much, bro. Like, I didn't do that much. So there's a big problem here. And the documentation they're in. The nice part about MVCIB is that this was at least Unreal 4. This is an engine that a lot of people know how it works. So we were able to break things and figure out, oh, we broke it. We can fix it. Like, we can change this, you know? Nobody knows how the fuck this ancient engine from like the mid 2010s works. Like, and was heavily customized by Iron Galaxy. Like all the ways it new works now is all this new engineering and tools that IG did to make the game look way better and not run at 900p or 720.
Yeah, that was so weird back then.
So yeah, like I know there's a mod scene for KI. I know stuff has been modded in, like asset replacement.
Know that.
It does exist. Like you can swap out assets, like take things out of the game and put them in. But has it ever had like a scene? Unfortunately, no. Like, there's a few. And then it's a notoriously difficult game to mod because of no documentation. So, another piece of news, Killer Instinct's 30th anniversary is like now. Like just past us. 30 years of KI. Came out in September of 1994.
Of like for the arcade game.
The original KI, yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, it would have been nice if there was something to celebrate that 30th anniversary of Killer Instinct in some official way.
There was a tweet from
there was a tweet
from the KI Twitter, and that was
there was a tweet. So yeah, I think I have to do some stuff for that. I have to prepare some content for celebrating Killer Instinct as a whole, and not just obviously KI 2013. I love that whole franchise. So yeah, it's pretty crazy, you know. It sucks that there's nothing else outside of like support from the official Killer Instinct Twitter, which is nice that still exists. Yeah. But no recognition from the holder of the IP, nothing from Microsoft, nothing from, I don't even know if Rare said anything, even they talk about KI every once in a while.
You might have gotten a retweet.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
A retweet.
I think what I was hoping is that one Stamper brother that has that fucking ROM of KI2 for the Super Nintendo will dump it for everyone to enjoy, but I somehow doubt it because like this is Max posting the gif of Indiana Jones going, that needs to be in a museum and not in that guy's basement, but what can you do?
Yeah, I don't see that happening anytime soon, unfortunately. So now we're at a point where Killer Instinct needs to live on in our hearts. You know, it's got to live on through the perspective of fans and stuff like that, which is cool. You know, it's cool. That's the way I'm used to it. Did that with MVCI and stuff like that. Anyway,
for sure.
Last bit of news, and I can't contribute much to this just because I've been told by a billion people that I need to watch this, and I almost don't want it to be super spoilery.
It's hilarious.
A rare VHS vehicular hauling sports tape was produced by somebody showing a lawsuit between Capcom and Data East over the properties of properties and characters in a game called Fighter's History, Fighter's History, I think.
Yeah, Fighter's History Dynamite, right?
Street Fighter, yeah. And how this game is infringing on our IP, similar to kind of what's happening now between Nintendo and like Power World. Sort of similar, where it's like, this is too close. Fuck you. Give us money.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen it yet, but I think this is from the Data East side of things, where they're like, we produced a whole infomercial ass video showing that your bitch ass is wrong. Like you cannot copyright a Japanese culture or something like that, right?
So yeah, this was uncovered. The VHS was found by a user over on Blue Sky, Molly Patterson, and the one little clip, it's just like the smallest clip is just hilarious because it's a side by side of Ken and a side by side of Ray kind of the Shoto of that game, and the dry lawyer voiceover is talking shit about Ken. It's like, yeah, this guy, I don't know, he's not very memorable, or like Ray, they're just trying to justify like where the differences are, or I think they're talking shit about Ray. I watched a clip like 2 days ago, and it's just they're gonna probably be uploading more of it. And I remember hearing about this like a decade ago or even more, how like, yeah, in a courtroom it was presented where both Data East and Capcom kind of just said like, no, this character is Matlock has this one animation that's really like Dalsim's, and just going through all of it. And it's like, I think there's reasons, I don't remember them offhand, but why this game? There's way more overt Street Fighter 2 ripoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
Before and after this.
You pissed off someone at Capcom.
Yeah. Something like that. I don't know. It's like, this is the one where Capcom just decided we need to make an example of this one. But it's like, you could have won if you took one of the others that were way more flagrant. Not this one, because outside of like it being a tournament fighter that's sprite based, you know, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Like Ray says big tornado when he shoots his Hadoken.
Does he say big tornado?
Big tornado.
I thought he said tornado. You know what? I always wondered what he said because it sounds like baked potato.
Oh yeah, it sounds like baked potato. Baked potato.
I need to see this.
Yeah. So a nice piece of fighting game history, like kind of uncovered. So hopefully we can all go watch it. The idea that a lawyer has to be like, listen, when Ken's in neutral, he doesn't look anything like Ray.
That actually sounds hilarious to watch.
That would be awesome. So
you cannot jump in, kick, and sweep. Different game, different experience. Shut up, Capcom.
Patterson for finding this. We all have to watch it. We should do a watch along of this or something.
Watch party.
Yeah, this would be the best thing to have 3 of our blacked out back of our heads looking at a big screen. It's just this thing.